So on May 13th, I saw Carousel at the Imperial Theater. I would normally show the ticket, but I don't know where it is, and that kind of worries me. Anyway, I have a lot of things to talk about with this musical. I don't want to seem like a negative Nancy, but there are some serious things I need to talk about with this musical. So I saw the matinee. I really didn't know what it was about. I've been, told, me and a friend just saw it. We rushed it and we saw it just to see how it was and just to see how the Imperial Theater looked, because last year we saw A Great Comet and how they totally transformed the theater. This time is just a regular theater, with last year with Great Comet, how like there was like Pierre's Salon and the doors, and you had like different seating on the stage and this and that, and how the ensemble came into the audience and stuff. No, it was transformed back into a regular theater, just in case anybody's curious. I feel like such a bad guy saying this, but it needs to be said. I don't know why Carousel was revived. I get that it's a classical musical, but with the themes and who it's uplifting, and especially, the Me Too movement and, just social awareness stuff, why was this revived? I mean, it's basically about this carousel runner named Billy Bigelow and him finding his eventually wife. Billy Bigelow is played by Joshua Henry, and his girlfriend slash wife, who is Julie Jordan's, played by Jessie Mueller, and she eventually falls for him. I don't know why this was brought up again, because eventually in the musical you find out this guy, he abuses his wife. He emotionally abuses her, he physically abuses her. I don't know if anything else goes on, but that's the main two things. And she, like, Julie Jordan is like, oh, that's just him, that's fine. Oh, he's really a sweetheart. He's just so stressed because he's not working, because eventually he gets, laid off from his work because, he didn't listen to the boss, not going with Julie. For some reason, the one who runs the carousel did not like him, or did not want her to go with him at all. Like, she just didn't like Julie. But eventually you see what goes on. He gets fired from the carousel, and then eventually they're living together, and he really, he abuses her. Like, he smacks her, he puts her down, he just does. And it's not how usually musicals are sort of uplifting. No, this one, honestly, they really need to rename Carousel Cycle of Abuse the musical, because that's all it is and it's about. And what kind of irks me and it kind of pisses me off is with this character Billy Bigelow. He's really a scumbag, and he gets all these second chances, and he also has friends that are not too good. Like, there's Jigger, his friend, and they have this big idea, and Jigger's played by Amar Ramasar, and they have this big idea that, oh, we're gonna go rob this one boat because they're carrying this one guy's carrying all this money, but they get foiled, and, like, spoiler alert, Billy Bigelow kind of kills himself. I heard about this before, where they said he commits suicide, but I don't know if he meant to kill himself. I don't know. He's one of those guys that he does without thinking. He just, for some reason, like, stabbed himself in the neck, and he bleeds to death and dies. And I'm like, okay. And I honestly didn't feel bad, because he was such, like, but, some people did feel bad. I don't know, like, maybe they were invested in his character. I was not. Like, and I feel bad for saying this, because Joshua Henry is really good at, for what he's doing, like, good singing, good acting, but the character itself is just a scumbag. I didn't like him. There's no redeeming qualities about Billy. Especially, and then he's like, eventually, like, Julie tells him, oh, I'm gonna have a baby. Like, she finds out she's pregnant, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna be a father. And then he does this, like, song about being a dad and how he's gonna be a great man, and how he's gonna teach his son not to be a wuss and this and that, and be a man, and take no crap from anybody. But then he has a realization it might be a daughter, and how he's gonna protect the daughter, which, I'm gonna have a complaint later on in this video about that. So he wants to get this money so that his family can live like a pretty good life. I think this takes place in the 1930s or 10s, or I think the 1910s, just basically how everyone was dressed. Sorry. So back then $3,000 you could live off of for a very long time. So, or it was like 3,000 or something like that. But anyway, I know some people, they didn't like Enoch Snow. I'm like indifferent towards him because he was like, he's basically a businessman. But from what I could gather from his character, he was sort of mean to his wife, but he wasn't, it's hard to explain. He wasn't abusive like how Billy was. Billy was just a straight up scumbag. I just think Enoch was just a businessman. And that's it. And so he was kind of he was in love with his wife and he was like treating her like gold and this and that in the beginning. But I think it's just one of those marriages where you just kind of get used to each other. That's how I saw it. I could be wrong. So Enoch didn't really bother me. I'm like, oh, it's just one of those, But Billy did. Sorry, this is like Billy Bigelow, the complaint video, because oh yeah, and then so eventually, I'll skip to ahead again. So he eventually dies and he goes into the underworld and he's met by the Star Keeper, who was basically like an angel. He's played by John Douglas Thompson, and you kind of see him in the beginning, like he's either standing on the stairs or the set or in between characters, like they don't notice him, he's there, he's just there to watch people. And this guy, like the Star Keeper, he gives like Billy Bigelow another chance. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, I don't understand the theme of this. The theme is like assholes get everything. That's what it was. Like, oh, they get all these chances. Like, oh, you get a second, third, fourth, blah, 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 million chances. And he offers him this chance to go down for Earth for one day just to right a wrong or a regret. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And, so at first Billy didn't want to take it. He's like, that's silly. Who wants to do that? But then he finds out that he has a daughter because a minute in heaven or in the stars or wherever it was is a year on Earth. So 15 minutes pass by, so 15 years. So he sees his daughter and that was another strange thing about this musical. Like, they're peering into his daughter's life, and there's this, like, ballet section. This ballet insinuates that the daughter is having relations, and I'm like, that's really weird that her own dad is watching his daughter have fun on the beach with this guy. And then, like, after they have fun, the guy just up and leaves. So the guy got what he wanted and just up and leaves this girl. Billy's like, oh, that's terrible. And I'm like, why would you? Ugh. And, oh yeah, the Star Keeper tells him that his daughter is just like him. She's a rough and tumble girl. She doesn't take crap from anybody. She fights these girls and anyone who speaks ill of her father or her family. So she fights these guys. And just like Billy, because it was insinuated that he slept with a lot of girls, she seems to sleep with a lot of boys. And so she's just basically the female version of him. And Billy's like, oh, I gotta see my daughter and tell her that it's okay. And, don't listen to these guys and whatever. It's really fine. So eventually the Star Keeper gives him a star so he can go down to Earth and he becomes alive for one day. And he goes down there and this is the part and I'm like, oh my god, why with this musical? He goes down and he meets up with his daughter and she's like, he's asking about, oh, what did they say about Billy, and she's like, oh, he was a scumbag, he tried to rob people, it's not true. And he's like, yeah, exactly, it's not true, he's a good guy, this and that. And he tries to give her this present and something else happens and I forget what happens. I'm telling you, I can't remember a lot with this musical just because for me it was forgettable. Something else happens and he slaps his daughter. Like, he physically abuses his daughter. And then Julie comes out, like, he eventually disappears, and then the Star Keeper's like, oh, you wasted your chance. And I'm like, well, you gave a chance to a scumbag. What do you think was going to happen? And then she sees that her daughter got slapped, and she automatically knew it was Billy. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, she somehow knew Billy came back for whatever reason. And I'm like, this musical's on crack. It's, oh my god. Just, I don't understand why they're trying to redeem unredeeming characters, especially this guy. I mean, he slapped his own daughter, but I don't know. I know, oh my goodness. I know it's a Roger and Hammerstein's musical and it's a classic musical or whatever, but it should have been left in the past. I get why they brought it back for the technical aspects, because that, I will say the positives for this musical was the technical stuff, like the dancing, the ballet. Although the dancing does go on for a little bit too long, especially in the beginning. You get like legit like 7 or 8 minutes of dancing, and I'm like, okay, cool. Can we end it and get to the story? Maybe that's just me. Maybe there's some people that love the dancing, but it was good, but it was just way too long. And the set design was awesome, and especially the lighting and how that went together. You know, you had the beach scene, you had the pier scene, you had like when the guy's coming off the boat. Then you had like the the seaside scenes with the little sailboats in the back, and how the lighting went from morning to afternoon to night. And it looked like real. So I will give it that. Like that would get, like, if it was just on the set design and stuff alone, that would be like a 90, but the story, oh my god, I don't know what to rate it. I mean, the acting was fine, the singing was fine. It's just the story and who it is about and who it is redeeming is what I have a huge problem with, especially in this day and age. And I don't want to be that guy like, it's 2018, you know. But come on, I mean, a little bit tone deaf on whoever wanted to revive this musical's part. I would see it if you just want to see a Roger and Hammerstein's musical, if you want to see like dancing, set design. I would not see it if you like just who is redeeming. Just it's really Cycle of Abuse, the musical. I'm not kidding. I'm not trying to be funny, because that's kind of a serious topic, but it really is. I would not see it just for that reason. I mean, and just for the plot alone. I mean, just who. Sorry, I hate being a negative Nancy, but just who it's redeeming. I don't know what to rate it, because, you know, I feel like the story and plot are a very separate thing from the set design and the lighting and the dancing and the acting and the singing, you know, because everyone was good. I mean, Renee, Joshua, Jesse, Lindsay, Amar, they were really good, you know, but just the story itself. So unfortunately, I probably have to rate this one a 65 out of 100, just because the story ruins it. It really does. If it was about anything else, this would be like a top class musical. You know, sorry about that, but I have to be honest here. Oh, and also the other kind of negative thing too I want to mention is the playbill design is very strange. Like when you look at it, and I look at it, and I've heard this before, it looks like something out of a play. It doesn't scream musical. It screams play, especially how serious Joshua Henry looks, and you know how he's standing all serious like. And it just looks like any other play front. I'll show the flyer for it. I wish they went with the artwork. There's nothing wrong with the artwork if they played it, you know, for the thing. And also for a musical called Carousel, they only used the carousel. I can only remember twice. When it's running, maybe 3 times, but at least twice. And then when it's kind of run down, like all raggedy and supposed to represent like the world upside down, I don't know. Just very, very strange choices in regards of bringing this musical around, the playbill design, just everything. As for the stage door report, I actually got a playbill, like somebody, like this really nice girl gave me and a friend a playbill. So we just stood around for the stage door to get it signed. And I'm kind of glad that we got it signed the day before we saw it, because the day we saw it was just really icky and rainy, and there's no way, and I wouldn't blame them. We had a feeling nobody was coming out. So we did get it signed by Renee and a couple of other people. I just wish I could remember the other people's names, but Joshua and Jesse didn't come out. But Renee did, and that was cool. Another chill stage door. I didn't get any pictures with anybody just because it was just like a last minute decision. Because another friend of ours is at this show, and she was telling us how good she really loved the set design for it. I think she gave it like 100 or something just for the set design. Like I said, it's at the Imperial. See it if you want to. See it for the actors, or don't, just because of who it's redeeming. I mean, honestly, it's your choice. For me, this is one I would not see again. Also, unmemorable numbers. I can't remember any numbers at all from this, like any songs or anything. So I'm like, whatever. So that's it for this review. Bye.